Welcome to the short video on how to view your feedback on your essays that you've turned into Turnitin. Remember that I give you lots of feedback for a reason. I want you looking at the comments. I want you to read what I've said. Look at your rubric, your grading rubric. Make sure you're not making those same mistakes again and again and again. I grade on a scale of rising expectation, which means that you should not be making the same sorts of mistakes on essay 3 that you were making on essay 1. If you do, that tells me one of two things. A, you never read any of my comments, and I spent a lot of time grading and adding comments for you. Or two, you read them and you just don't care to fix the problems that you're having with your writing. Either one of those do not bode well for you, okay? Honestly, nothing makes me angrier, I think, than to see you making those same mistakes because you don't care about improving your writing. That's the whole purpose behind this course, is getting you ready for future college courses and academic writing. All right, so without further ado, remember that if you go into my grades, and remember your screen will probably look very different than mine, but this is the closest I can get. If you go into my grades, when you're in Blackboard on that left navigation bar, and you click my grades, you'll get a screen much like this, okay? Now yours, you can look at your memoir essay, final copy, and it's probably hot linked so that you can actually click on that essay and go back into the essay and turn it in. So I'm going to pause and take you right back into. All right, here we are in Turnitin, and this is actually a paper of a former student, but of course I'll keep the name hidden for obvious purposes. Now, on the sidebar, you should see like a stack of papers in black, a stack of papers that turns blue if you hover over it, a stack of papers that's red, a stack of papers that's purple. When you first log in and you first access your graded paper, you're probably going to drop into a paper that looks empty. And you're going to think, wait a minute, I thought Miss Diener was like grading my paper and giving me comments. You have to load the comments. Now, after you've done it once, sometimes when you go back in for essay 2, it might already be showing you comments, or it may default back depending on, what's going on with Turnitin. So let's talk about the different types of comments. There are blue comments, there are red comments, and there are purple. Let's start with purple. When you click on that stack of papers, it will load any purple comments. These are not from me, okay? These are from Turnitin. So they typically are grammatical kind of comments. So you will see comments from them. Now, some of them are kind of useless. I mean, they may think you've been in passive voice for the entire essay. Some of these things are kind of beyond you at this point or stage of your writing. But definitely look at them. Okay, some of them can be a little bogus or whatever. Sometimes they may have a comment right where I've placed a comment as well. Now, couple things about this group of papers that this paper was part of. Typically in a face-to-face class, I have students turn it in, so they've turned in an electronic copy, and I have them turn in a hard copy, a printed copy to me. Sometimes I grade all of them online. Some of them I grade the hard copies. But on this first essay, even though I graded the hard copies, the printed copies they turned in, I also went back in, because it was essay 1, and I added in comments so that they could see how to read the feedback on their paper online. So there's going to be fewer comments from me. There's going to be some token comments about the paper, but I bled all over their hard copy of their paper. All right. So whenever you see purple, that didn't come from me. Now, if I had graded this online copy, I would have commented right here that it was needing a comma. All right. I may have typed in class, comma, and, so that they could actually see how that should be. okay? But the purple comments are from Turnitin. Then we have the red comments, all right? Now, the red comments in this paper had 0 originality issues. They'll give you an originality report, okay? And it will show you, all of the sources that might have been used in this paper and not documented. If you have 0, that's good, okay? Now, sometimes you might have 12% plagiarism. So you want to look at this report and you want to see where in your paper things are questionable. Sometimes you've used the exact same phrase as another student that's in the database, and so it kicks it up. And maybe there's nothing wrong with it, okay? Maybe it's a false read. Other times, you might actually have read something on the internet and it shows up in your paper and you don't even realize it, but it is plagiarism. So that's one reason that I always tell you, you can turn your paper in early, check the originality report, make any changes, and resubmit your paper. But this red area, these red icons, the red paper stack, that's where you want to check some of these things. All right, so purple from Turnitin, red is about plagiarism. Then let's talk about blue. Now, when I click on this blue stack of papers, voila, there's some comments. Blue is from Mrs. Diener, okay? Now, there are different types of comments. One of those is called quick marks, which I call drag and drop comments. I have created this little, list of common mistakes that students make on papers. And if, for example, a student needs to double space their paper because it's MLA, I can drag this comment over and drop it into the paper. Now, notice there's, for example, second person. And this paper, the person has already used your second person in the title of the paper. So you can actually click on that comment that says second person, and there's a little note about avoiding that in formal writing. So drag and drop comments, they would be in a rectangle, and they would, in white lettering, would tell you what the offense is, what you did wrong, okay? So it's one type of comment. Another type of comment is this text comment. So if you were to click on this paper in pencil, you would see a little comment from me. And again, on the first essay, I try to enter in all different kinds of comments so you have a chance to see them. My comment here to this student is one that I wrote a lot on your papers. You talked around the event and you didn't really take the reader into the experience with you. So the guy's talking about what happened, but he's not telling the story of what happened in a way that it's almost as if it's in real time happening right now and the reader's right there with him. Okay? So you've got the drag and drop, you've got the text comment. You also have this kind of comment where I can actually click in your paper and I can type a message to you. So, for example, establish and maintain a third-person point of view for the entire essay. Now, again, remember I said that these I graded hard copy, but I went into the essays and added for each student, see the printed copy for more feedback, because I just wanted to give them a sampling of the type of feedback that was provided. I would have gone in right here in this essay and I would have typed class, comma, and instead of just telling you that it was a missing comma. I wanted to show you how it should have been handled. So you're going to see a lot of this. I will go right into the paper, as I said. I'll type a comment. I'll type messages to you in the borders of the paper or the margins of the paper. There will be lots of feedback from me because I just absolutely talk to you throughout that whole paper. But if you don't click on, this blue paper here, if I unclick this blue paper here, you now see that all the comments are gone. So you have to make sure that you're actually clicking to load those comments. Now, there is one more type of tool that I want you to make sure that you observe when you're looking at your paper. It is called it looks like a little chart, okay? This is your rubric. Now, the English department, we have a departmental rubric, okay? We use this for every paper that is not a research included paper. So our rubric covers content, organization, style, conventions, and MLA format. So you can actually see your particular rubric and how you scored on each of these areas. And the combination of those scores generates your score on the essay. So remember, you want to be sure to load your comments by clicking on, the little paper, okay? And those blue comments come from me, the purple come from Turnitin, and the red are dealing with plagiarism. So you want to make sure that you see all of your types of comments and load those for your paper so that you can see. Again, I should not see the same mistakes on Essay 3 that I'm seeing on Essay 1. This is a process of you continuing to grow as a writer. So I hope this has helped you, and hope that you now know how to view your comments and how to use those to improve. Thank you for joining me.